Afternoon, guys. So I just received something in the mail and I just wanted to show you. No joke, it's called the magical bag. You can pull whatever you need out of it. And there it is. We're going to see what kind of items we can pull from it that'll help us through the lockdown situation that we're all experiencing. Pretty light, actually. Let's see what we got. Opening it up. First, a glove. Looks like it can be used on your left or right hand. That's good. Fingerless glove, so it won't help against any of the germs out there. Let's see what else. Sock. A sock. One sock. A spoon. One spoon. It's great. That's not gonna help us. What else? A pen. One pen. That's also not going to help us in the coming days. Toilet paper. Toilet paper. This is not going to help me for the end of the world. It's not going to help any of you guys either. The yoga mat. Even more useless than toilet paper for the end of the world, a yoga mat. I'm gonna practice yoga while I'm starving. Okay, let's see. A bike helmet. That's great. I can wear this outside. That's about it. I don't have a bike. Finally, food. How many pulls was that? Oh, and there's a little note in here too. Congratulations on your purchase of the magical bag. Please note, the items that are generated by the bag are random. Do not expect the items that are generated to necessitate your needs.
In this continuing series about the new Warriors, we have to talk about the fearless leader of the group, who despite her size, hasn't been the largest topic on everyone's minds since this comic book was announced. Because that honor actually went to Safe Space and the non-binary Snowflake. Like all teams in Marvel Comics, it is off tradition that the spotlight shine on one member, or maybe two, more than the one they're attempting to establish as leader of the group. Cyclops always took a back seat to other popular characters, with Wolverine showing up in every goddamn book because his popularity was through the roof in comparison. Hell, even latecomer Remy LeBeau earned a few solo titles compared to the illustrious leader of the X-Teams. We kind of see the same thing with the Avengers team in film, to some extent. The Captain wasn't quite the ticket seller that Tony Stark was. And maybe because Robert Downey Jr.'s personality bleeding through to Iron Man versus Chris Evans, who had to play the straight man, which is kind of the way it's played out with the X-Men comics. The guy who toes the line is always second fiddle to the rebel, but audiences would debate the popularity of the Captain later on, especially after Captain America Winter Soldier. And in this case, it's no different because everyone else on the team has something at least more interesting about their characters. Trailblazer's abilities are so vague and her character is so bland in comparison to her teammates. On the upside, her design is just as bad as the rest of her teammates. We've had discussions about this over at Bounding. A character who moves around and is in constant battle or action tends to be more on the fit and tone side of things. Just check out the old new Warriors. But when looking at her size, someone might argue that maybe she's doing some sumo wrestling training. However, this is not part of her backstory as described by writer Daniel Kibblesmith.
So the first character that we're introduced to is Trailblazer. She's a group home and foster kid who is volunteering at a senior center when this mysterious threat shows up and Night Thrasher runs to the rescue. And because she helps him, she ends up in the crosshairs of this new outlawed law. And she inherited from her grandfather a magic backpack of divine origin. We picked the name Trailblazer because she's somebody who charges into action. She knows that she can do some good with this, mysterious gift that she's been given.
So we can only assume at this point that the bag is how she's able to keep up with her team. And she's able to contribute to her team because of it. Her team consisting of an athlete, a vampire, a gassy internet teenager, and the frosty him, her, they, them person. According to her bio, the Pack can pull out any object or weapon, but she has no control over what comes out. As described on Marvel's site, Trailblazer is a regular kid scooped up into the world of teenage superheroing. Her magic backpack is actually a pocket dimension with seemingly infinite space from which she can pull out useful or random objects. It's not always under her control. She claims to get her power from God, but not the God you're thinking of. She's a group home and foster kid who is volunteering at a senior center when this mysterious threat shows up and Night Thrasher runs to the rescue. And because she helps him, she ends up in the crosshairs of this new outlawed law. Trailblazer wants to help people, but she doesn't think of herself as a superhero yet. So she essentially has Wacko's bag. Remember in Animaniacs, the character Wacko would have a bag with him at all times and he'd be able to pull out whatever he needed at any given time.
A party!
Or in Hunter x Hunter, there was a thief who could hold an insurmountable amount of items in a cloth that he had specially spread out and imbued with his nen, and it made him an invaluable thief. This kind of random bag serves more as a joke than anything. It's like I'm playing Diablo 2 again and trying my best to gamble for a unique or a rare, but I keep pulling these low quality items. So this character might be pulling out something that could very well be of little help to the situation, especially when lives are on the line and danger is afoot. If a gun is pointed at me and I pull out a container of Jell-O to defend myself, I'm not that effective as a team member. This is especially troubling considering she's the leader. Maybe this is fit more for a fifth guy in the roster, as the reliability of this kind of person is always in question based on whatever garbage they pull out of the bag. So, speaking of garbage out of the bag, we'll have to see what kind of shit Kibblesmith pulls out for this title when it releases in April. But Marvel first is going to have to pull something out of their asses to get these titles out to the marketplace, while Diamond Distributors is closed up for the foreseeable future.